Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah and I'm a hospital pharmacist, and today I'm sharing 10 tips I wish I knew in pharmacy school. Whether you're a first year student or preparing for rotations, these tips will help you stay on track and succeed in pharmacy school. Now let's get into it. Number 1, active learning. Reading your notes 10 times isn't going to help you study. Use spaced repetition like Anki flashcards. Anki is something that often medical students use, and something that I learned through my medical school friends and adapted it to pharmacy school. It's a good way to reinforce concepts because the number 1 way to really do well in pharmacy school is active recall. Another way besides Anki is that you can teach a friend. It forces you to understand the material. Prioritize practice questions over just passive reading. For me in pharmacy school, the first 2 years, I learned the hard way. I was so focused on making really detailed notes that by the time when I finally finished making my beautiful notes, I barely had any time to review them, practice doing practice questions, doing active recalls, so I didn't do so hot when I first started. So that's one thing I really wish I knew in pharmacy school from the very beginning. Master time management early. Balancing classes, work, and life, it's difficult. And you really can't do that without some sort of calendar or time management plan. It's tough, but good habits makes it a lot easier. I have some friends who, are adamant on, I don't need a calendar, it's all up in here. But when your brain is full of pharmacy topics, drugs, you're overwhelmed, there's no way you're going to remember. You have a hangout planned on Friday nights and you have dinner plans with your family on Sunday morning. Some things are going to slip out, so it's really important to have a calendar. I use my Google Calendar religiously for everything, and I color code everything so that I know, okay, where am I lacking? Where could I add more in the gym? I've noticed this whole month I'm not hanging out with my family enough. I gotta squeeze in some time. It's really important to block out time before you get overwhelmed. Don't do it once you're overwhelmed. It's too late by then. And time blocking will help keep you accountable. So say once school ends, I'm going to go home, grab dinner, eat, relax. And if I don't block out time to study, I might not do it. So it's really important that I carve out the time for me to study. Build strong relationships with professors and preceptors. Networking starts during school, not after you graduate. Attend office hours. It's not just for struggling students. It's a good way to connect with your preceptors and your professors and possibly get a really good letter of recommendation. Connect you with job opportunities and internships, things like that. They might know someone in residency programs or other hospitals or clinics that have job openings, and they can put in a good word for you. Engage in pharmacy organizations. It's a good way to meet other pharmacists, other pharmacy students. And like I said, pharmacy is a small world, so it's good to put your name out there. Focus on conceptual learning. You don't need to memorize everything, you just need to understand. What's important is that we understand the concept and the pathways and the why, essentially. So important things to really understand is why would you choose one drug over another? That's what I mean by the why. Sure, you could just memorize the entire drug class, all the drugs within a drug class, but you have to know, when would a doctor, choose one over another? Which one has a better side effect profile for a certain patient population, like the elderly or the pediatric patients, things like that. Those are some common concepts you'll see on your exams and your boards, and even just in real life. Make the most out of your rotations. Your clinical rotations is when you apply everything you've learned in school, so make it count. Research common disease states and medications you might see beforehand, and bring a notebook with you so you can jot down notes. And ask questions. Preceptors love it when students are curious and they're engaged. We can tell when you don't want to be there and you're just checking off a requirement. Not only is it beneficial for you once you become a full-fledged pharmacist out into the world, it's also really important for networking too. You're going to hear this throughout pharmacy school that pharmacy is a small world. So if you have a bad reputation in pharmacy school or during rotations, it might come back to bite you. You might have to be careful. So it's really important through your entire 4th year API year that you're on your best behavior. Start preparing for your boards early. Don't wait until you graduate this needs to start like maybe even P3 year. Start a running list of high yield topics. Use NAPLEX style questions throughout school. So what really helped me was that during my P3 year, that's when we learned, core NAPLEX topics. Like we had modules on cardiology, modules on psych, hemonc, all these things. So these are huge topics for the NAPLEX, right? So what an upperclassman gave me advice was that I could buy off of, upperclassmen their NAPLEX prep book for that previous year or that current year. Although I was in P3 year, I obviously can't use their current book for my year when I graduate, but that book was so helpful in giving me what was the core information I needed to know, what I need to learn for boards. And obviously it's gonna be on my exams anyways. So that was a really good way for me to learn these core topics on top of, the lecture slides I had in class. Because realistically, our slides were like hundreds of pages. And that versus reading a NAPLEX review book chapter, so much easier. Get comfortable with counseling. You'll have to explain medications to patients all the time. So for me, I'm a hospital pharmacist, and even then, I still counsel patients at bedside because I do hospital discharge counseling. I know not all pharmacists that work in the hospital do this, but for my particular hospital and some other hospitals, we do provide discharge counseling. So it's really important to be able to explain to patients in layman's terms, simple, non-medical terms that they can understand. Get comfortable with speaking confidently. Patients might be uneasy if you sound really unsure or scared. So you can do mock sessions with your friends, get some good practice. There's even some patient counseling competitions sometimes during pharmacy school. Those are a good way. And you can add it to your resume if you win or do well. Prioritize mental health and avoid burnout. Pharmacy school is demanding, but always put your health first. So like I mentioned earlier, Google Calendar, make sure to always schedule in time for yourself, whether that be going to the gym or just carving in time for your own personal hobbies. So for me, one thing I really regretted and that was really detrimental to my mental health during pharmacy school was that, I gave up all of my creative hobbies. So I just felt so empty. So it wasn't until, once I finished pharmacy school, finished my residency, and I picked up a camera again, started editing and just filming for fun, I just felt so much happier. And I started picking up all of my old creative projects again. So, started painting, I started drawing, and I just realized I was missing that during pharmacy school. I wish sometimes I bought a camera during pharmacy school and started a vlog or something. Take advantage of student discounts and free resources. Pharmacy school is expensive. Use every free resource available. You can get student discounts on Lexicon, UpToDate, and other pharmacy tools. There's a lot of free YouTube channels and even pharmacy blogs out there that's a great resource to have. You can join a lot of pharmacy associations for free as students or even at a super discounted rate. That's a really good way to network with other pharmacists. You can go to pharmacy conferences at a huge discount. I remember going to CSHP and I had so much fun and I really wish I could go again. But as a pharmacist, the admission price is pretty hefty. I would have to justify taking time off to go to those conferences. So it's a lot harder once you're a pharmacist. But as a student, it's so much easier. Like, of course, pharmacy school, they're gonna want you to go network, go to those conferences. They're gonna carve out time for you to attend, so might as well attend, right? Enjoy the journey and remember the why. It's easy to get caught up in the stress, but remember why you started. Pharmacy school is a short-term sacrifice for a long-term career. Find a support system, classmates, mentors. It makes a huge difference. Celebrate your small wins. Whether if we think we did well or not, we always made sure that, hey, we're gonna have a nice dinner out after this huge cardio exam, after this huge final, things like that. Something to look forward to celebrate that, hey, you did it. I remember in between some of our rotations, we had a few weeks where we didn't have any rotations, so we were free. So some of my closest pharmacy school friends and I went to Seattle. So it was a really fun trip that we definitely needed to de-stress. Pharmacy school is tough, but you got this. If you found these tips helpful, let me know in the comments. Please like and share. Please let me know in the comments what other videos you want me to do. I'm kind of running out of pharmacy ideas, and even if you're okay with non-pharmacy topics, I would love to hear that too. That would make me so happy.